Disney xin kính chào quý vị. Đến với chương trình Good Morning Washington DC hôm nay, chúng tôi có dịp tiếp xúc với Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế. Kính mời quý vị theo dõi cuộc tiếp xúc của chúng tôi. Kính chào Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế.
Kính chào cô.
Quý vị chắc là ngạc nhiên khi Disney nói rằng là Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế. Tại vì hồi nào giờ chúng ta đã nói sai. Tên thật của Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế là Châu Lập Thế chứ không phải là Thể như chúng ta đã từng thấy trên những bài viết hay những cuộc phỏng vấn trước đây. Có phải không Chuẩn tướng?
Có phải. That's okay, no problem.
Vậy là bây giờ là phải gọi là từ nay là Châu Lập Thế.
Châu Lập Thế.
So how are you?
I am doing very well, thank you very much. Good to see you.
What made you come to Washington D.C. today?
Well, today we have a dinner from the VATV-DC, where all the senior leaders gather together to meet all the new cadets and the midshipmen from the various military academies. The purpose, one of our mission from the VA-USA is to mentor. So give us the opportunity to mingle and talk to our cadets and to give them some advice on what they can do better as they move forward in their career.
Since you going to talk to the cadet and give them some advice, can you share with us what you're going to talk to them and what advice that you can give it to them?
Sure. Tonight, what I'm going to tell them is that one of the most important things that I have learned for the past 30 years in uniform is really come down to one thing. It's character, right? As everything that a person do or fail to do reflect him or herself. Who you want to be, who you want to become, your character is very, very important. Now, sometimes the character, the words is pretty fancy, pretty big, but if you break it down, it's about honor, it's about integrity, it's about hard work, it's about empathy, things that you do to reflect good in your own character. So that's what I will share that with all the cadets and midshipmen tonight. Because that is very important, because at the end of the day, we can teach them tactics, we can teach them all the technical thing, but the most important thing that I think is a character.
So we're talking about characters. Any characters is your ideal that you can follow to?
Well, I would say one of the most important thing is humility. It doesn't matter how far you go in life. You can be a big shot general, but you're still a father, a husband, a friend, a brother and sister to someone. So always remember where you came from. Okay, so that will ground you, so you know you do not kind of go overboard. And I think the humility really can help carry you, also provide you the empathy, the area where you can relate to all the person rather than make quick judgment, if you will, and criticize somebody before you even know what happened behind the scene, if you will. So I think humility is a very, very key attribute of the whole total character.
Any special person or the name of person that you want to share with us?
Yeah, from the when I was young, I know very little about many of our South Vietnamese generals from Vietnam. As I moved to the United States, I learned of a very, I would say, famous, inspiring general. I think his name is Ngô Quang Trưởng. Trung tướng Ngô Quang Trưởng. I think to me, he's one of the model that I would love to emulate. What I mean by that is he was one of the best field commander, brilliant field commander. But beyond that, the most area that I admire him is his integrity. His integrity, his humility, his down-to-earth type of general, which is very difficult to find, So I think that carry a very deep and deep meaning, something that I would like to strive to be, So.
I'm not surprised that our young generation will look back to our history back then in like Vietnam Cộng Hòa. And for me too, I learned a lot. That's why I came here, not in Vietnam. But can you share that since you know about Vietnam Cộng Hòa, and did you know anything about the April 30? And how old were you at that time?
Yes, I remember April 30 very well. I remember actually back to 3rd very well, 3rd 1968 very well, because I had to evacuate from the house, from my home, because my backyard surrounding the whole area was on fire. So we had to evacuate. So I remember all the way back to 1968, 3rd very well. 3rd Mậu Thân very well. April 30th happened just like yesterday to all of us. Definitely a sad and tragic day for all of us. I remember the tremendous amount of sadness and the chaotic that morning. Watch folks just run all over the place. It was a devastating day. But one thing I think that stayed with me for the rest of my life on that day was the communists captured many of our South Vietnamese soldiers, and they parade them on the way from the battlefield all the way back to Saigon. They just walked right in front of my house. And it was very sad. It was very sad. I think I saw perhaps hundreds and thousands of our soldiers got kind of captured and marched back from all the way back in the rice paddy and then all the way back into Saigon. It was a pretty devastating scene for us. So that's kind of a pretty sad memory.
We know that when we was a kid, anything happened like that, we're gonna never forget.
Oh yes, unfortunately.
And is that make you have a motivate to escape the country?
But I think what really drive one of the reasons that I escaped from Vietnam was the life back in the 1976, 75, 78 was miserable. It was a living hell, really. You just cannot describe the feeling unless you've been there, you lived through it. You try to explain it to people, that they just don't get it, you know. So no hope. You live in such a humiliated kind of environment. You cannot breathe, you know. You feel like somebody choked your neck every day, you know, and hungry all the time. So lack of freedom, it just, you have no dignity. It really comes down to that. So everybody, not just Lập Thế, everybody really tried to find a way out. And I just very lucky that my sister escaped, and she happened to have 2 empty, slot, if you will, and my brother and I, we kind of jump in and escape with her.
So you escaped by boat?
By boat.
Both people.
We escaped back in May of 1979, and we landed in Indonesia after 5 days, flowing around South China Sea, and we landed in Indonesia after 5 days later, and stayed in 3 separate refugee camps. The reason people say, why 3 refugee camps? The first refugee camp, when we got in, we stayed there for a while to the point like people all left. We want to come to America because the word America is a synonym to freedom, right? So all of us willing to wait and come to America. So the whole camp was empty. Only about 3 or 4 families left. So they have to close down that camp and move us to the next camp. Wow. So we stay the same thing. We stay at the next camp to the point like the next camp also closed down, and they move us to Galang at the very end. That's how we kind of stay in the refugee camp for about 12 months. Well, 11 months and 28 days to be exact. So.
Kính thưa quý vị, là cái con đường mà đi đến cái đất nước tự do của Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế rất là gian nan, là Chuẩn tướng phải trải qua đến 3 cái trại tị nạn. Và có phải cái đó là cái motivate cho Chuẩn tướng để có được như ngày hôm nay hay không?
Yes, in a way, because sometimes when you been through tough time, adversity always, for whatever reason, bring out the best of a person. because you really, when you're down to, you have nowhere to go, you have no choice but to bounce back. So when I came here, you've been to hell. You're given this opportunity here. So you really don't want to let it slip by. You really want to absorb and work as hard as you can and take advantage of it. And you never look back. You just keep going, because you know the other side. You know the darker side of life. And so every day is definitely a gift. You know, that's the way that I look at it. Every day you get up in the morning, you can breathe freely. That is a gift that we should never, ever take for granted. And people who accepted us, you know, especially these days now, we're talking about refugee, we're talking about everything else. Many people back in the 80s risked their neck out to accept many of us Vietnamese refugees. So we as a refugee should not let them down by doing the best we can to not only bring honor to our adopted country, but also really bring honor to our own people as a Vietnamese American, right? So I think that is very, very important. And every time I have opportunity to talk to all the young people, I tell them the same thing. This country has been great to us, so we make sure we never let them down, the people that supported us. But more importantly, you like it or not, all of us look different than majority of the population here. So things that we do or fail to do have consequences beyond just us as an individual. It reflects good or bad to our community. So I think it's that we need to do a good thing to bring good honor to our family, ourselves, our country, and our Vietnamese community as well too.
Và xem cái đất nước này như là đất nước của mình.
Absolutely, absolutely. When I go out there and talk to people, sometimes people say, they give me the impression that they are a guest in this country. I say, no. I say, once you raise your right hand and when you get your citizenship, you are an American. You have just as much right and privileges and responsibility as any other American. Stand tall, you know, talk with purpose and move with a sense of purpose. That this is your country. Just because your past, your tragic past, if you will, or your family tragic past should not define who you are today. You are an American. So need to take advantage of it and take care of this country like your very own. It is your country.
That's
you know,
right.
So.
Và có phải vì muốn để trả ơn cho cái đất nước Mỹ này, Chuẩn tướng mới đi vào quân đội và trở thành được như ngày hôm nay không?
Absolutely, I think you're absolutely correct. It may sound a little bit corny to some people, but when I came here, I felt in such a sense of gratitude, a sense of gratefulness to the people, and to the people who really found this country. And here we are. We walked in here, everything already kind of ready for us. Wow. You know, so what can you do? My analogy that I use to often describe why you need to serve. Imagine if I'm a guest to your home. If you invite me to your home and you feed me, at least I can do is to help you wash dishes after you cook. Or at least I can clean up my room and make up my bed, right? Or help you cut your lawns and do some housework. That is just so simple. American people generously invite us to this country for us almost 30 some years ago. At least we can do is to make sure we need to preserve the freedom that we have by protecting it, you know, and serve. That is to me that is the best thing to give back to a country is to serve the country that give you everything. So.
Và thưa quý vị, Daphne được biết là Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế khi còn nhỏ ở Việt Nam rất là thích ca dao tục ngữ. Để Daphne hỏi Chuẩn tướng xem Chuẩn tướng có thể đọc một câu nào cho quý khán giả biết rằng Chuẩn tướng biết về ca dao tục ngữ Việt Nam hay không?
Well, when I was young, I was in elementary school called Trường Làng. It's a very small elementary school. Thing that I remember the most are tục ngữ, you know, such as like công cha như núi Thái Sơn, nghĩa mẹ như nước trong nguồn chảy ra, một lòng thờ mẹ kính cha, cho lòng chữ hiếu mới là đảo con.
Wow.
Something like that. Or say một cây, I think this is there's a couple of them that I really like that I use. It's like có chí thì nên, gần mực thì đen, gần đèn thì sáng.
Yeah.
Mấy cái đó rất là exactly correct in today's environment, especially the câu mình nói là gần mực thì đen, gần đèn thì sáng. People that surrounded you. So as you make friends, as you found all your colleagues, surround yourself with good people, you will have the tendency to excel, right? If you hang around bad people, you have the tendency to turn bad. So those tục ngữ, whoever many years ago in our country found those sentences, it's wonderful. Right. You know, it's so accurate.
Rất tiếc là cái tuổi trẻ bây giờ không có được học những cái câu đó như hồi xưa nữa. Những cái người hồi xưa đó như thời của tướng Châu Lập Thể thì có thể học được những cái đó và đem áp dụng vào cuộc sống. Nhưng rất tiếc rằng bây giờ thì khi mà cộng sản take over thì cái tuổi trẻ nó không được học nữa. Quý vị có thấy là tướng Châu Lập Thế tuy nói tiếng Anh nhưng mà rất hiểu tiếng Việt. Quý vị nói gì cũng hiểu hết. Tại vì có thể là trong cái công việc của tướng Châu Lập Thế là phải nói tiếng Anh hàng ngày, cho nên không có nói tiếng Việt nhiều, phải không?
Yeah.
Và thì bây giờ là một chuẩn tướng thì nhiều khi người ta nhìn vô, người ta thấy cái bộ đồ hay là thấy cái phong cách của chuẩn tướng, người ta nghĩ rằng chuẩn tướng lúc nào cũng phải trang nghiêm, cũng phải giống như nó xa rời với cái người bình thường. Thì chuẩn tướng có thể cho biết cái đời sống hàng ngày của chuẩn tướng nó như thế nào hay không?
Even though you become a general, but you just like any other human being. At home, I wash dishes every day. My wife, you know, it's fair. In our household, my wife cook, I wash dishes, and my daughter clean the table. You know, so I cut my own grass. I don't let people make my own coffee. So I do the normal thing that any other man would do. You know, we travel, we have fun, we let our hair down, we do things. It's just as long as you stay within the boundary, you know, don't do anything stupid. But other than that, it's a job. It's so yes, you do have to act a certain way when you're in uniform. Even though when you're outside of the uniform, you do have to act a certain way because you do represent not only yourself, you represent your country, and then you represent the service. If I happen to do something wrong, very seldom people say, oh, that individual did something wrong. They say, that Vietnamese American, that army general, right? So I'm very mindful of that. In a way, it's good. My wife loves it because it keeps me straight, right? Because as a leader, especially in this country, it's very strict. Okay, we have a very high ethical code that we live by. You know, we do not abuse our wife. You know, we do not do anything that what the term that we use called the conduct unbecoming an officer. That means anything that you do or you say or your behavior that is not a gentleman is not good. So which is it's good for me, but also good for my wife too. So.
Thưa quý vị thấy là làm chuẩn tướng thật không có dễ, là thật tại phải như là một người đàn ông bình thường mà còn phải như là một cái người officer ở trong quân đội nữa quý vị. Vậy thì cái món ăn Việt Nam nào mà chuẩn tướng thích ăn nhất?
Phở, obviously.
Phở. All Vietnamese men eat phở.
Oh, absolutely. With the phở, bún bò Huế. I'm very lucky. I married to a very good cook. You know, so even though we live about 4 hours away from eating center here to get the good Vietnamese food, but my wife can cook some mean Vietnamese food. You know, she can cook some very good phở, bún bò Huế, and we do gỏi cuốn, bánh xèo around the house. So even though we're not very close to a good Vietnamese restaurant, but at home, my wife can cook some very, very good food. So I very, very lucky.
And one thing is when you would say about tướng Ngô Quang Trưởng, and now you wear the uniform as what he did before. So how did you feel on his position?
When I was a child, of course, you knew nothing. But as a military officer, and I cannot say I truly relate to what they went through, because they went to hell. It's very tragic that we had the entire generation, pretty much from 1954 all the way until 1975, right? 20 years of nothing but war, and the time that they separate away from the family, I think I went away deployment for three times, and the more I deploy away from home, the more I appreciate the soldiers and officers in the South Vietnamese Army, because not only my father was in the military, but also my uncle, stationed pretty much the entire time of my childhood at Hue, so we hardly see them. So as a military officer in the United States, even though my deployment compared to what they went through is nothing, they went to hell, and to having to fight an enemy that had endless supply from China and Russia, when we from the South practically struggle just to get enough bullet to fight, definitely give me a great sense of respect for what they've been through, no doubt, and really admire one of the reasons that I picked him. We do have many great and smart and a brave general in the South Vietnamese. The reason I single him out, because I think the integrity part is so important for military officers, not only in South Vietnamese, but also in the United States. People, once they get to a higher ranking, they get this perceived power. To me, it's not power, it's just a responsibility that they give you. And they have a tendency to do things that they normally wouldn't do, to provide for themselves. So for him, for all the book that I read and everything that I learned about him, he seemed like a very humble, a noble man, down to earth, care for his soldiers, care for his family, and have a deep sense of duty and care for his country. I think that is definitely someone that all of us can emulate and strive to be. So.
Chuẩn tướng vừa mới mention là ba của Chuẩn tướng hồi xưa cũng là trong quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa, mà ngay cả chú cũng trong quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa. Thì at 1975, ba của Chuẩn tướng là làm về binh chủng nào?
I think my father was stationed at đảo Phú Quốc. I think sadly he passed away when I was only 2 years old. At that time, I think the Viet Cong bombarded, kind of mortar bombard the island, so he got caught in that. He was with I think don't know the exact services. It's like almost like either the
U.S. Merchant Marine.
Either the Merchant Marine, something like that, that's stationed down at that area. But my uncle and my father only had two. My father's family only had two boys, my father and my uncle. And my uncle is a South Vietnamese Marine. I think he's stationed at Hue, Da Nang, pretty much like his adult life for 20 years, that we hardly even see him. He came home and wounded, and then shortly he had to go again, So it was a pretty sad time for my grandfathers, because we only had two boys, and one already passed away. The other one practically hardly home, during the whole war time. So.
Và kính thưa quý vị, như chúng ta biết, Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế là một trong 3 vị chuẩn tướng hiện nay của người Mỹ gốc Việt trong quân đội Hoa Kỳ. Và chúng ta cũng từng có biết qua Chuẩn tướng Lương Xuân Việt. Thì Disney cũng từng có phỏng vấn Chuẩn tướng Lương Xuân Việt, thì Disney được biết ba của Chuẩn tướng Lương Xương Việt cũng là người trong quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa, và Chuẩn tướng Lương Xương Việt cũng chia sẻ rằng Hy cũng học được rất nhiều những cái chiến thuật từ những người đi trước trong quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa. Và bây giờ Daphne cũng thấy rằng Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế cũng là con của một người trong quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa, và cũng rất là kính nể những vị tướng trong quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa. Thì có thể chúng ta nói là người Việt Nam mình có câu là con nhà Tông không giống lông cũng giống cánh. Vậy thì bây giờ để cho những cái em trẻ ở Mỹ này muốn vào trong quân đội Hoa Kỳ cũng có một cái mai là to give back this country, what's your advice to them?
Military service is a good career. It is a very good. It's today's military in the United States is not like what our parents used to know back in the 60s. You either go to jail or you go to the military. Today's military, especially in the United States, is very professional, a professional organization. As you see, many of our officers, for example, even the enlisted, highly educated, very, and at the same time, very motivated in terms of country, duty, and honor. And so I think whoever, especially our younger generation Vietnamese, if they have the opportunity, and if they don't want to go to active duty, that's okay. They can go do the reserve or the National Guard. You still can serve your country. There's a lot of, beside all the good benefit, but to get a self-satisfaction of you are serving your country is bigger than yourself. You know, we owe this country more than we can ever pay for. Okay, as Destiny, you and I know, freedom cannot be bought, right? Freedom is priceless. So what can we do to give back? We have one life given to us here. We can choose to either live a life, indulge ourselves with monetary value, buy big home, fancy car, and self-absorbed, make ourselves look good and everything, or we do something to benefit our community, our country. I believe you can do both. You can make a very good living as a full-time military person, or you can do part-time. And you can get the sense of not only you get the tremendous amount of leadership training, but you get to know America more than you ever know. I mean, when I first came to Roanoke, my first unit when I came in, Southwest Virginia, many country boys, right? And here I was walking into a formation. My first platoon sergeant was a Vietnam veteran. He looked at me, he said, not too long ago, I was in your country, and you probably one of those who pulled my shirt tail asking me for chewing gum. And now I have to salute you. Oh. And I say, God bless America. Right? Only in America that someone like me came here with nothing can become somebody. So we need to give back any way possible, and serving in the military is, to me, is one of the a great way to do. The benefit is very good. Beside the self fulfillment that you know you do something good for your community, for your country, but also the monetary value, the pay and the benefits and all that stuff. I mean, it's I cannot say enough of it, because I served 30 years. Otherwise, you know, if I didn't like it, I would not have, you know, wear the uniform for 30 years now. I got my commission in 1987. So this is, you know, so I'm getting ready to have my 30 years anniversary, not anniversary, reunion at VMI. So 30 years, I still loving it. I will continue to serve my country until they tell me that I'm too old to serve, and then I will quit. But other than that, I love it.
If one day you have a chance to come back to our motherland to serve it, would you do it?
All depends. Of course, there's no secret. All of us escape because we did not like or do not like the communist government. There is no secret about that. That doesn't mean we dislike our country, you know, especially our people, right? So anything I can do to help for the betterment of our people, you know, all of us can contribute to help, you know, be volunteer work or whatever. So, in the meantime, I just have to serve my country here in the United States, you know. So.
Yeah, that's just an if.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Maybe when you retire, then you can give the young generation some advice so they can do it for you.
Absolutely. Here you go.
Và quý vị, vừa rồi là chúng ta cũng biết về Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế, là một cái người cũng rất là đời thường chứ không có phải xa vời như là chúng ta nghĩ. Và đặc biệt là Daphne có để ý là trong cái profile của Chuẩn tướng thì có thêm cái last name là Flora. Is that any special?
Flora, when I came here as a teenager, no parents around, the churches that sponsor my family came here in Roanoke. And two members from that church, Riley Court United Methodist Church in Roanoke, they were in their late 60s, already retired, and they wondered, you know, I'm pretty sure these young people would love to have some summer job, cut grass and things like that. So they hired me to come over and help them clean the pool, cut the grass, and things like that. So I spent the summer, helped them out, cut grass and clean pool, and then we kind of built up the relationship that they really liked me. You know, they didn't have any of their own children. So they say, can we adopt you? I say, you have to ask my mom, you know. So they wrote a letter in the United States, sent to Vietnam, and asked my mom's permission, can we adopt your son? And my mom said, well, I have 6 children, so I guess I don't mind to share one with you, you know. So my mom gave the permission. So of course my mom and dad here thrilled, right? So they took me to court, and we went through the whole, pretty much like the adoption process. You know, you went to court and get the proper lawfully change names and things like that. So that is how the name Flora ended up in my in my last name. So, you know, people often say, you don't look like Flora. I say, I don't, you know, but yes.
You feel lucky, didn't you?
Very lucky, very fortunate. Came here, single, my brother and I, just 2 of us, and my sister's family, but we work hard. And people feel maybe perhaps sorry for us, and I say, you know, we really like you. We will really want you to be part of our family. Can we adopt you, please? I say, well, you know, you just have to go. So when my mom gave them the permission, they just they were ecstatic, and they took me in. They really taught me the gentle side of life. When I came out of Vietnam, I was very angry, very aggressive, if you will, because I had such a tremendous amount of hatred of the communists when I left Vietnam. It kind of consumed my being, if you will. I was so angry at them, and then when I came here, and my mom and my dad kind of gave me the tender side, you know, the encouragement, the love, and it doesn't matter what I did in school. Even my first report card came back with all F, because I didn't know any English at all, and they say, son, it's okay, just try harder next time, you know, just always encourage you and always give you the positive mentorship, if you will, the typical good parenting, and with that, they kind of really taught me a great deal. So I have the best definitely from both worlds. Learned a great deal from my mom in terms of hard work, you know, dedications and things like that. From over here, I learned, you know, God country. Here you go, yes, you know. So I really very lucky.
So you feel like a heaven on earth is right here.
It is. I mean, our republic is not perfect by no means. We all know that. But this country, by far the greatest country on the face of this earth. My 30 years in the military, also working with the corporation, allowed me to travel 30, 40 countries around the world. And I can tell you, every time when you travel to other countries, you always looking forward to come back home. This country is no doubt, by far, in anything that you can measure, is definitely is the country that you want to live in. So we are very, very lucky.
Dạ, kính thưa quý vị, là chúng ta vừa có một cái cuộc phỏng vấn rất là lý thú với Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế, là từ một cái người còn nhỏ sống trong chiến tranh Việt Nam và đứng trước cái sự mất nước, thì sống trong cái cảnh mà rất là khổ sở. Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế phải bỏ nước ra đi, và cái con đường rất là gian nan để đi tìm đến bến bờ tự do. Và cuối cùng thì được một đôi vợ chồng người Mỹ nhận làm con nuôi. Và vì để muốn trả ơn lại cho đất nước này, Chuẩn tướng Châu Lập Thế đã đi vào con đường quân đội và vẫn tiếp tục cái con đường của cha ông chúng ta, của những người lính Việt Nam Cộng hòa ngày xưa. Và Daphne cảm ơn quý vị đã theo dõi cuộc phỏng vấn của chúng tôi hôm nay. Và xin mời tướng Châu Lập Thế có vài lời với quý khán thính giả của đài SVTN.
Well, thank you very much, Destiny. Really appreciate the opportunity. And to all the audience, my apology for not speaking Vietnamese. My Vietnamese is very limited, so my apology to that, and my best wishes to everyone. And thank you very much for the opportunity.